This is part 3 of Module 16, the role of paraprofessionals in progress monitoring. Paraprofessionals are important IEP team members. Throughout the modules, we talk about the importance of paraprofessionals in the IEP team process. And as you have seen throughout this modules, paraprofessionals are essential to the progress monitoring process. Let's talk a little bit more about your role in progress monitoring. When you are being asked to help with progress monitoring in academics, you may be asked to help administer teacher-created assessments, such as worksheets, oral reading probes, student-led sorts of assessments. You may be asked to collect work samples. You may be asked to check pre and post tests. A highlight here is to be sure to check with the teacher regarding directions and prompts that are allowed to be given during progress monitoring probes. Because again, the goal of progress monitoring is to establish what students have mastered and what they still need work on. We don't want to supply them with any information or answers that would skew the data and show that they have mastered a skill that they actually haven't mastered. So it is really essential that we are getting truly the data that shows what it is that the students individually on their own have mastered. When we talk about the paraprofessionals' role in progress monitoring for functional skills, that may mean administering teacher-created assessments again. It may mean helping students complete their own checklists. Again, here is an example of a functional progress monitoring probe about how to brush teeth, where you might have a student who is taking each part of this process and putting it in sequential order. And again, we would not want to supply them with too much information because we want them to be able to demonstrate their level of knowledge and what skills they have mastered. And the paraprofessional's role in behavior data might be completing frequency charts or collecting duration data, as those examples showed us in part 2 of this module, helping students complete their own behavioral charts or checklists, and also being an active participant in any conversations that go along with those progress monitoring conversations when we're talking about behavior. This is just a little bit more about the data collection discussions and some reminders or things that you would want to let your teacher and other IEP team members know regarding the data that you are taking for progress monitoring. If at any time the data, especially if you are being asked to keep behavior data daily, let them know if it is too difficult to take it every day, especially if we are talking about frequency data. If we are talking about time on task, if we are talking about time off task, if we are talking about defiant data, if we are talking about calling out data, if that data is becoming too difficult to take daily, you want to let your teacher know. If you feel that you cannot manage a child's behavior and take data at the same time, so if you are trying to redirect a child to stay on task and you are also being asked to document when they are on task or off task at the same time, and you feel that is too much, then you need to let your teacher know. If you feel as though a student has not shown any improvement, so if you are being asked to fill out a functional skill checklist, let's say about a hand washing routine, and you feel that you are going over that hand washing routine several times a day, every single day, and you feel that the student has not shown any improvement and is not making any progress, then you would want to let the teacher know, because maybe you need to add more steps, or maybe there is some pre-learning that needs to happen. Maybe the goal is too high, so you'd want to let your teacher know immediately. Conversely, the opposite, if the student has mastered the goal. So if you are doing the hand washing routine several times a day and the student is getting every single step correct several times a day, every day, then maybe the goal has been met. Maybe we need to find out what comes next. Maybe we don't have to wait until the next, maybe the IEP needs to be revised early, or maybe something else needs to be put in place, or maybe we need to up the next goal for progress monitoring. So that would be something that you would want to let your teacher know immediately. If the student has suddenly started to show a decrease in skills, so if we go back to a reading example and your student was showing a lot of progress with reading words correctly, and all of a sudden you see that they are starting to show a decline and they are showing less words correctly as the weeks go on, you would want to immediately have a discussion with your teacher. If you have a suggestion on how to maybe teach the skill better, if you see something that maybe just isn't sort of clicking with the student, if you also have a suggestion on how to make the data easier to take, which is really important, especially with the behavioral data that sometimes you are taking by the hour or by the class period when we're talking about the frequency data. Or the duration data, because a lot of times that is happening very quickly, and there is a lot of data to be collected. So if you have suggestions, sometimes the person who is in charge of taking that data can sometimes almost more easily see a more efficient way or more effective way. So always have these open conversations and discussions with your teacher and IEP team members as needed. So to summarize, Module 16, progress monitoring provides teachers with the vital signs of growth in academic and functional skills. You have now reached the end of Module 16. A few reminders. Be sure to complete all questions in each section. Record any questions that you have about the module in the final box before submitting. And please allow up to 7 to 10 business days to receive your certificate of completion, especially during busy times of the school year. Thank you for participating, and thank you for being a paraprofessional in Schuylkill County. We thank you for your service, and thank you for participating in the modules. If you have any questions, please reach out to myself, Ashley Hess, or my secretary, Avra Schultz.